Thank you for your purchase of DeVenco Rolling Shutters. The following is a simple step-by-step guide to help you install them. The tools you will need for this installation are electric drill or screw gun, 1 1/8" diameter drill bit, number 2 Phillips drive bit, tape measure, level, and hammer. Items included with your new rolling shutters: 3 or 4 brackets, depending on the width of your doors, header with 2 sets of tracks, which will be pre-installed, 4 shutters labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4, 3" screws, 2 1/4" screws, buttons to cover screw holes in brackets, 8 shutter stops, 1 fascia and 2 fascia returns, brads, which are the tiny nails, and 2 knobs with breadboard screws. Before you begin, please gather the necessary tools and refer to the shutter layout you received via email. The shutter layout will give you 2 important measurements you will need to determine the location of your brackets. Refer to the width of the header so you can center it accurately over the doorway. Also refer to the height from the floor to the top of the header. For example, if the height is 85 3/4", the installer will need to measure 85 3/4" off the floor to mark the spot for the brackets. Then, using the width of the header, which in this case is 118 inches, the installer can divide the brackets out evenly. Your measurements will vary slightly, as this is an example. Step 1. Start by locating the studs in your wall for mounting the brackets. You will mount 3 or 4 brackets depending on the width of your doors. Use the measurement from your shutter layout to determine the location of the bracket. Use 3" screws to attach the brackets to the wall. Be sure to hit the studs or solid wood. Remember, the header should be centered over the doorway, so plan for this as you're installing the brackets. Before you continue, check to make sure the brackets are secure and level. Step 2. Attach the header to the brackets using the 2 1/4" screws that are supplied. As you can see in this diagram, you will be using the 2 1/4" screws to secure the header to the brackets. As a helpful tip, pre-drill these holes first before you begin. There is also a copy of this diagram on our website if you need to refer to it later. Here are additional pictures of the bracket, header, and rails from different angles. Step 3. Once the brackets are installed, use the buttons to cover the screw holes. Step 4. Install 4 of the shutter stops. First, slide 2 shutter stops to the center of each of the tracks. After the shutters are in place, you will adjust their position before tightening the screw to keep it in place. Here are the shutter stops shown on the front track. Do the same on the rear track. For the rear track, the 2 inner stops should be placed near the middle with a good gap in between. Step 5. Slide the shutters into place. Before you begin, please note that the shutters are numbered from left to right: 1, 2, 3, and 4. By looking at the diagram here, you can see that shutters 2 and 3 will go on the front track, and shutters 1 and 4 will go on the rear track. This is important to visualize as you're setting the location for the shutter stops. Here's a drawing of the inside shutter stops. While keeping this shutter layout in mind, you will need to place the shutter stops accordingly so that shutters 1 and 4 are unable to cross behind shutters 2 and 3. Note, there will be 1 shutter stop on each end of each track after the shutters are in place. Install shutter number 1 from the left side on the rear track. Then install shutter number 4 from the right side, also installing on the rear track. This is how shutter number 1 and number 4 should look once installed. Step 6. Install shutters 2 and 3 on the front track, 2 on the left side and 3 on the right side. Remember, you should have 2 stops between the shutters. Step 7. Use the wrench supply to adjust the shutters as needed. You want to make sure the shutters meet one another and are level. Step 8. Add 1 more shutter stop to each end of each track. This will prevent the shutters from rolling off the track. Once the shutter stops are in the correct position, tighten the screws to keep them in place. Refer to the drawings here to confirm your shutter stops are correctly positioned. Your shutter installation is nearly complete. Step 9. Install the fascia. Using the brad supplied, nail it to the front of the header. Step 10. Install the Fascia Returns in the same way at each end. Step 11. You should have 2 knobs and breadboard screws. Twist the screw into the knob first, then screw the knob in each front shutter. When you're done, your shutter should look like this. Congratulations! Your rolling shutter installation is officially complete. If you have any questions, please refer to our website for contact information. Thank you for choosing DeVenco. We know you will enjoy your shutters for years to come.